Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural episode of the Very Vinyl Podcast. My name is Joe Marquez, and I am going to be your host on this journey through vinyl. Now, what makes this podcast or videocast different from all the other vinyl podcasts out there? Well, I am going to take you through kind of my journey into rediscovering vinyl. You see, I grew up in the time of Napster, right? You all know that. The end of 1999, right? When Napster was exploding and colleges across the country were discovering music through the digital MP3. That is where I discovered music, and I loved it, knowing that I can get any type of music that I wanted to at my fingertips and be able to carry volumes and volumes of that music in a small and compact design and carry it and listen to it anywhere. It was amazing. But I think over time we have lost quite a bit of our love for music by having access to it 24/7. I mean, we have little tiny machines in our house that we can just demand a song and it will play it for us. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, if I needed to find a song, I needed to go down to the Best Buy, find a CD that had that song, and buy that CD, even if the other songs I didn't care for. If I wanted that one song, I had to buy that one CD. Then with MP3s, you can get bite-sized purchases, a single song from an album. And I think over time, that has taken the love and joy of music away from us, away from the artist. It's brought more artists towards us, but like the concept of an album has kind of gone away. And by rediscovering vinyl, I discovered the beauty of listening to an album all the way through and in the order that the artist intended. And don't get me wrong, I still find value in digital music. When I take my long walks in the morning or I go for my runs, I love to be able to have that music in my ear on the go. But when I'm at home, I want to be able to slip that vinyl disc out of a sleeve, place it on top of a machine, and see that turntable spin. There's nothing like it. And this podcast is for vinyl lovers who are trying to get their friends into vinyl. This podcast is for vinyl lovers who want to share why they love vinyl. And this podcast and show is also about trying to bring out music that we don't hear on the quote-unquote mainstream, right? The local radio stations. Maybe some of the college radio stations will play these. Maybe some obscure stations on Sirius XM radio will play these things. But I want to bring to you some of our smaller emerging bands who are amazing. And I want to bring that music to you. So I want to pick some albums that you may have not heard of. Maybe you have, maybe you're in the know, but I want to bring some of these albums out. And again, you may know these bands, you may have these albums, but you may have friends who don't. And they hear you all the time saying, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. But now you can point them to somebody else. Hey, look, this guy over here, validates my point. This guy over here wants you to listen to this. So the way that this podcast is going to go is we are going to go through 3 different albums. Now, not every song on the album, but I'm going to go through albums from the past. Now, my definition of the past is going to be pre-2018. So any album that was released pre-2018 constitutes the past to me. Present is anything between now, the present, and 2018. Now, I want you to know present also means like anniversary releases, reissues that have a special vinyl color to them. So, there could be an album released, let's say in like 1993, that has a 20th anniversary, actually be 30th anniversary coming up here, right, in 2023, like in 1993, and then 2023, and they have this anniversary disc, that would be considered present because it was released in this year. And then future, maybe vinyl releases that I am looking forward to, and I think you should be looking forward to as well. So that is going to be our format: past, present, and future. And everything we talk about here on the podcast will be available with show notes. So if you go to bit.ly/veryvinylnotes, that's bit.ly/veryvinylnotes, all one word, you will have access to all the notes for this show, giving a shout out to the bands, where to connect with the bands on all the socials, and then links to listen to the key tracks that I think this album really, that really creates a great aura for these albums. And I will also add links to where you can purchase these albums as well. Now, I'm doing this because I have found love in music again by purchasing vinyl. And I think a tactile aesthetic, a tactile aspect of listening to music really allows us to connect with that music. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Now, I'm going to do my best to not get infringed copyrights. I'm trying to bring music to you from smaller bands, getting them exposed a little bit more. So I am going to do my best, and I hope my videos and podcasts don't get flagged for copyright. But if you do watch this episode and you get to the musical point and you hear nothing, that just means YouTube took away the music because of copyright. I'm going to do my best not to infringe upon that. I'm going to do my best through all that. So you're not going to hear me playing any AC/DC songs or any Metallica songs. I may be featuring those albums if they're special releases, but I of course won't be playing that music because that'll get flagged instantly. But I'm trying to bring you some more obscure bands, smaller bands, to get them noticed, to get you to follow them on the socials, and to get you to buy their records. So, please, if you come out and say, you're infringing upon my copyright, please know that I'm not doing it for any other reason than my love of your songs and love of your album, and I'm just trying to get it out there. All right, that's my little notice at the bottom of the screen. So let's go ahead and get to our first record from the past. The first record from the past is from a band called Ann Beretta. Now, I am super surprised that I had not heard of Ann Beretta before about 5 or 6 months ago. Ann Beretta is one of those bands that kind of just slipped through the cracks for me. They formed, they're out of Virginia, and they formed in 1996. And, they're a punk band. I love punk. Right? Less Than Jake, Green Day, Jawbreaker, The Descendants. I love me some punk, right? And I love, you know what? I'm going to admit it. I love me some pop punk as well. It's a guilty pleasure. I just really like it. I like all music, basically. If it brings me joy, I like to listen to it. And when I heard Ann Beretta for the first time, just by happenstance, I fell in love. I couldn't believe that this band never crossed my radar. I cannot believe that this band is from the 90s. Their sound is so 80 punk, but it's 90s punk. I can't believe it. And this is their very first album. Now, this album was released in 1997 by an emerging label called Fueled by Ramen. Now, Fueled by Ramen just hit its 25th anniversary. They're a pretty secure label. I mean, they have bands like Panic at the Disco and Paramore, Gym Class Hero, so many different other ones. This, I believe, was their 15th record that they released, and it was only released on CD. But they did get a re-release in a vinyl format only in Germany in 2001 by Hometown Caravan Records, and it was their 4th album that they released. It is on regular black vinyl, and because it's on vinyl, it holds less minutes of music on it, so they had to cut down the tracks from 18 to 13, or was it 18 to 14? They cut some tracks to make it actually fit on the vinyl. So if you do buy the CD or you do get the album digitally, you're going to get more tracks than the vinyl because of that time constraint. And one of the songs that I would love to share with you off of this album is from Side B. It's track 1. This song is called MCA. So I'd like to share that song with you right now. So that is a pretty amazing song. I mean, again, really down to earth punk, great sound. It's just great. I mean, it's fantastic, right? So that's Bitter Tongues. There was only 1,000 of those pressed in 2001. I was lucky enough to find one out of Germany. Really great album. I love to put it on. I just love it. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you listen to this album. It'll really bring you back. That is true amazing punk. And after this album was released, they left Fueled by Ramen. and were picked up by, the amazing Lookout Records. You may know Lookout from that's the record label that Green Day emerged from out of the Berkeley punk scene. They released 2 more albums out of that one, and then they kind of they disbanded for a little bit, and they kind of just went their own way. So just wait a little bit, because when we get to our future, right? I talk about the past of this band that I just discovered. Future looks so bright. You'll see in a minute. But before we get there, let's talk about the present. Things that are being released now. Bands that I'm really excited about. When I hear that music, I'm like, yes, I want to listen to it. And this really got my attention. This band right here. This band called Guardrail. Now, this band is out of Chicago, Illinois. And listen to this. So they call themselves a diet punk band. Right, a diet punk band, and they say it like this. They're like, we're not quite punk, we're not quite pop. It's like we're not quite sugar. We're like Splenda. You can tolerate us, but sometimes we leave a bad taste in your mouth. We're diet punk, right? So if you look up #diet punk on the socials, you'll find Guardrail. And so I heard them, and I was like, yeah, I like their sound, and they're right. It's like you can't place it. Like, I heard one of their songs, and towards the middle, they sound a little bit like the Foo Fighters, and then I heard another one, and they sounded a little bit like maybe State Champs, but they're catchy, and I like it. And so I had to get their 10-inch. This is what they have right here. It's called Yikes. This 10-inch, and there is only about 6 songs on it, and maybe even 5.5, because Belly Up. I'll play that one for you as well as Shipwreck. That's the main one I'm gonna play. But Belly Up is 40 seconds, 40 seconds long, but it's really good. But this is really good, and I had to buy their 10-inch because I loved their sound. And so the 10-inch that I purchased is this really cool splatter split, right? Pink and blue splatter split, really nice, really awesome kind of designed record right here. But the song Shipwrecked, I think you're really going to enjoy. So, without further ado, let's take a listen to Shipwrecked by Guardrail.
left his men here to die, stranded and helpless and shot from deception and lies. Can't tell apart the water from the storm in the sky. Now the ship is sinking, no one taught us to swim. The lifeboats are missing, so I guess we're diving in.
So that song just really gets me going. I love that. It's a little bit of pop punk and it's a little bit of punk. I mean, they're absolutely right. It's diet punk, right? I don't know. I can't describe it. I want to play one more from them. This one is called Belly Up. It's 40 seconds long. I think you will enjoy it. So see you in 40 seconds.
I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. I don't really care about what's going on outside. Come on, everyone get high. Once the Simpsons online, I just wanna have some fun before we belly up and die. Do you really wanna feel like you wasted your life? I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. Everybody's swept up in responsibilities. I'm still sitting here in bed staring at my TV. So I guess I should get out my ass and get a new routine. Sayonara to my ears. Fuck!
So, I mean, quick, but man, that hits. That hits really well. I love that song. It's nice and quick. I had to double check to see if that was an actual song listed on the back or if it was a bonus because it was so fast. I love it. It's really good. Guardrail is the band. Again, I'm going to give you all the links to where you can get these albums and find them on the socials. Definitely hit them up. Really great band. They're up and coming. I think they're working on a full-length LP here coming soon. So once I hear more about that, you better believe we'll be adding that to the future section of Very Vinyl. All right. So remember I told you in the past, we talked about Ann Beretta, right? That's what we looked at right here. Ann Beretta, they're from the past. I missed them. The reason I found them was because across my newsfeed, I saw an article that said, band releases a new album after 20-year hiatus. I'm like, whoa, that's got to be a long time to wait to release new material. Who is this band? And it was Ann Beretta. And they in that article, they said, you know, it's very difficult to release something after that long because there's a lot of people that love their original stuff, and it's very scary to write something new if it's not going to be better than the old stuff or at least comparable to the old stuff. And so they had these trepidations about coming out with this new music, but I'm glad they did because, again, Ann Beretta is releasing a brand new album. It's coming out in October of 2022. This album is called Rise. And I think it's an amazing album. I think these individuals have just really gotten this album right. They have done something that, you know, it brings the joy of punk, but also a little bit of pop pump into it. It is, I don't know how to explain it. I think it's absolutely worth the wait. And this album can be pre-ordered today. Today it is released. I will put the link in the show notes of where you can get that. It's really cool, really neat that they're able to release something this awesome. I think every song in this album is one of my favorites, but I want to play a song from this album, and I sure hope this does not get flagged for copyright because it's really great. It was between the song that's out there playing right now called Better Medicine and another song called Get Up, Let's Go. But I think I'd be doing them a disservice if I did not play Better Medicine. So without further ado, off of their brand new album Rise, here is Ann Beretta's song Better Medicine.
There's a shot ringing out, but they won't
think that's a pretty awesome song. I mean, they took a now when I say they took a 20-year hiatus, I mean writing new material and releasing another album. I mean they've been playing gigs and doing amazing things as a band together. I think they took a break from each other and then they got back together in like 2012. They re-recorded some old stuff, released some new versions of their old stuff. But this is the first full release of brand new material. It's just a heartwarming story to know that these individuals did not give up. They kept going. So I think I have to play one more song from this album. I think I have to play one more just because it's an amazing album. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing band. So here it is. Here's one more song from these guys. Get Up. Let's go.
One wrong move and we're all dead this time. One wrong step and we're all left behind. What we see and what we do is all that's left of me and you this time. We kiss it all goodbye. Get up, let's go, we lose control. Come on, let's go, we're on a roll. If one thing's true, then here's to you this time. We made it out alive. Won't you catch me catching you? And won't you shine a light to guide me through? But what we see is what we get, and you just ain't seen nothing yet this time. We kiss it all goodbye. Get up, let's go, we lose control. Come on, let's go, we're on a roll. If one thing's true, then here's to you this time. We made it out alive. What we see and what we do is all that's left of me and you this time. We kiss it all goodbye. Get up, let's go, we lose control. Come on, let's go, we're on a roll. If one thing's true, then here's to you this time. We made it out alive. Get up, let's go, we lose control. Come on, let's go, we're on a roll. If one thing's true, then here's to you this time. We made it out alive.
So, I mean, it's just really great feel, really great sound, really great story. Again, their album their LP will be released. This album is already out digitally, but it will be released physically on LP October 2022. And the pre-orders started today. So go to Bearded Punk Records and buy it. They even have a cool bundle. You can get both versions if you want. So go out there and get it. Give Ann Beretta a great, just a great high five all the way around. Great story, great band, great album. And if you're looking for any of the things from this album, all you have to do is go on over to the Very Vinyl Podcast show notes, and that is just go to bit.ly/Very Vinyl Notes, all one word, all lowercase, and you'll be able to see all the episode notes about the bands, how to connect with the bands on all the socials, listen to those key tracks, links to the actual albums that I showed you that I have in my collection on Discogs, and everything else you need to know about everything that we talked about. And I sure hope you loved this show. I sure hope you loved this episode. If you like what we are doing, please let us know. Tell us what you thought. You can find us on Twitter at Very Vinyl Pod. You can also find us on Instagram at Very Vinyl Pod. And then definitely go to our YouTube channel, which is probably where you're watching this right now, and subscribe so that you get notification every time a new episode drops. Now, we're going to try and release 2 episodes a month. If I get really excited, maybe 3 or maybe even 1 a week if I just go on a buying spree. But I just really want to get you to know some of these bands that I am finding that brings me joy and that you don't hear on the radio. These bands deserve to be listened to, and I'm just trying to bring that out and to your attention. If you have bands that you love and you would like to see featured on Very Vinyl Podcast, shoot me some DMs, shoot me some messages again on the socials. Let me know what you're listening to. I would love to check them out as well. And you know what? If their music speaks to me, I'll buy that album and I'll feature it on a future episode of Very Vinyl Pod. Well, again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Oh, one more thing I totally forgot. We just got in brand new stickers for the podcast. So if you like this podcast and you enjoy it, please subscribe, please retweet, please do all those cool things, and then message us and say that, hey, you're a listener, you love it, and we'll get connected, and I will send you some stickers that you can slap on your laptop or whatever you have to stick stickers on. So again, I'm Joe Marquez. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Very Vinyl Podcast. Until we meet again, keep on spinning those records, because you know what? There's nothing better than the crackle of the needle and sitting back and listening to some amazing music by a completely talented individual. So have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful listening experience.